Let's talk about one of the most gut-wrenching situations a woman can find herself in. You've been connecting with a guy, things felt real, the chemistry was there, the laughs, the late night texts, the feeling that maybe, just maybe, this could be something special. And then you find out there's someone else. Maybe it's someone from his past, maybe it's a woman he's still unsure about. Maybe he's talking to both of you and hasn't made up his mind, and suddenly you're left with a knot in your stomach, asking the question no one wants to ask but too many do: how do I make him choose me over her? It's a painful place to be, because when someone you care about seems torn between you and someone else, it can trigger every insecurity you've ever buried. Am I enough? Am I attractive enough? Did I say something wrong? What does she have that I don't? You feel like you're in an emotional competition you never signed up for, but now you're being forced to play in. And let me tell you something. If you're there right now, I see you, and I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not here to compete for love. Love, real love, is not something you win by doing more, being more, or shrinking yourself into the version you think he wants. But here's the twist most people miss. You can make him choose you, but not by chasing, not by comparing, not by becoming the pick-me girl who performs for a man's attention. You make him choose you by becoming undeniable, not in comparison to her, but in alignment with your own worth. This isn't about beating another woman. It's about rising so fully into who you are that you become unforgettable. Because of your presence, your confidence, your peace, your energy. You stop fighting for a place in his life and start showing him that you are the place he wants to be. So today I'm going to give you 5 powerful shifts that don't just make you the chosen one. They make you the woman who doesn't have to be chosen, because her presence speaks for itself. Let's begin. One of the most powerful things a woman can do, especially when she finds herself in the middle of romantic uncertainty, is to step back and remind herself of her value. It sounds simple, almost too obvious, but in moments where you feel like you're being compared to someone else, where a man is undecided or giving attention to another woman while still keeping you in the picture, the temptation to compete becomes overwhelming. You start analyzing her, watching her, wondering what she's got that you don't. Is she prettier, funnier, more exciting, more available, more adventurous in bed? That mindset is a trap. And it's a trap that steals your power faster than anything else, because the moment you start comparing, you stop owning. You stop owning your energy, your presence, your essence. You go from being a woman who walks into the room with quiet confidence to someone who tries to be picked. And that shift in energy, whether you realize it or not, is felt. It's in your tone. It's in your body language. It's in the way you start texting more than you used to. The way you try harder, laugh a little louder, make yourself more available than you should. It's subtle but powerful, and men can feel it. Here's the truth. A man doesn't choose the woman who tries the hardest. He chooses the woman who stands in her truth with calm certainty. The woman who says, I'm not going to run faster to keep up with someone who doesn't even know if he wants to walk beside me. And the wildest part, that woman, the one who isn't competing, she's the one who gets remembered. Because in a world where everyone is trying to impress, she's the one who simply is. She doesn't get lost in the noise because she's not trying to out-sing anyone. She's just being herself, fully, unapologetically, and with the kind of grace that says, if you want to see what it's like to be with me, I'm here. But if you need to explore other options, I won't stop you. I'll just step aside because I know what I bring to the table. See, the woman who knows her value doesn't just believe she's a great partner. She knows she's a rare experience. And there's a massive difference. When you operate from that space, you stop entertaining men who treat you like one of many. You don't try to convince someone to see you. You simply shine in a way that makes them realize they were blind not to. So when you hear that he's talking to someone else, when you feel the threat of another woman's presence, you don't go into battle mode, you go into boundary mode. You say, I'm not interested in being one of your options. I'm only interested in being someone's clear decision. And that decision isn't made with bitterness or passive aggression. It's made with love for yourself. And let's be honest, some women will try to win. They'll play the game, they'll strategize, they'll post to make him jealous, reply fast, flirt hard, and make themselves as accessible as possible to stay top of mind. And it might work for a moment, but it's not sustainable, because eventually that mask comes off, the effort becomes exhausting, and he sees that what she was selling wasn't real, it was a performance. Meanwhile, you're still standing there, calm, solid, authentic, because you never had to pretend. You never needed tactics, you just knew. Real connection doesn't come from competition, it comes from clarity. A man may be entertained by options, but he will be anchored by depth, by realness, by the woman who doesn't flinch in the presence of another because she understands one simple truth. There's no version of me that requires you to be unsure. If you don't know now, I'm not going to wait until you do. And it's that mindset that changes everything. It's what shifts you from being one of many to the one that stands out, not because you chased him down, but because you walked in your worth and refused to shrink. Know your value, stop competing, and remember, if he has to think hard about choosing you, then you already have your answer. You're not here to win someone over. You're here to attract someone who already sees you as the prize. One of the fastest ways to lose your power in a relationship is to make him the center of your universe. And you might not even realize you're doing it because it starts small. At first, it feels romantic, you're falling for him, so of course you want to spend time together. You rearrange a few things in your schedule, you answer his texts a little faster, you check his social media more often than you check in with yourself, and little by little, your world starts revolving around him. The danger isn't in loving someone, the danger is when you start abandoning yourself in the process. When your day no longer feels full unless you've heard from him, when your mood depends on how much attention he's giving you, when your goals, your hobbies, your friendships start getting quieter and smaller because his presence in your life keeps getting louder. And at first he might like it, he might enjoy being the focus of your attention, but over time that energy doesn't make him more committed, it makes him more comfortable. Because when someone becomes the center of your universe, they feel it. And instead of feeling inspired to give more, they start to feel like they don't have to do much at all. You've already placed them on a pedestal. You've made it clear, whether intentionally or not, that your happiness is now tied to what they do or don't do. And here's what's so heartbreaking about that. You were a whole person before he came along. You had dreams, you had a life, you had passions and friends and a light in your eyes that had nothing to do with being chosen by a man. That version of you, that self-contained, confident, vibrant woman is what attracted him in the first place. But when you lose yourself in someone else, that light dims. Not because you're not amazing, but because you start handing over your joy, your focus, your center to someone who was never supposed to hold it. And then, ironically, the very thing that made you magnetic to begin with starts to disappear. Men are drawn to women who have their own lives, not because it's some manipulative tactic, but because it signals confidence. It says, I'm not waiting around for you to entertain me. I'm already fulfilled. You're welcome to join me, but you are not the source of my happiness. And that kind of energy is powerful because it creates space for him to want to invest instead of feeling like he's being clung to out of emotional need. A woman with her own passions, her own schedule, her own boundaries, that woman doesn't just attract attention, she commands respect. Now, this doesn't mean you play hard to get. This doesn't mean you act cold or distant. It means you don't forget who you are when someone else shows up in your life. It means you still go to that workout class. You still make plans with your friends. You still work on your goals. You don't drop everything the second he texts you to hang out, not to punish him, but because you already have a full, beautiful life that you're proud of. And any man who wants to be in that life has to add to it, not become the center of it. So if you catch yourself slipping into that space where your thoughts are always about him, your plans depend on him, and your emotions rise and fall based on how responsive he's being, take a step back. Gently but firmly return to yourself. Reconnect with what you love. Spend time doing things that light you up. Call that friend you haven't talked to in a while. Go after that thing you've been putting off. Fill your own cup, because here's the truth. When a man feels like your world revolves around him, he doesn't feel lucky, he feels pressure. But when he sees that you are a whole universe of your own, he feels honored just to be part of it. Don't make him your son. You were already shining before he got here, and if he ever walks away, your light will still be there, constant, steady, undeniably yours. And that is what makes a man stop in his tracks, not because you begged, not because you gave more than you had, but because you stayed rooted in your own power. And from that place, he doesn't just want to choose you, he has to. There's a point in almost every romantic situation where the energy shifts. At first, he's texting you every day. He's making plans, initiating conversations, showing up. You're smiling more, feeling hopeful, starting to imagine what this could become. But then something changes. The responses slow down. The plans become vague. He's still around, but something about it feels off. And that's when it happens. You start filling in the gaps. You start chasing the energy that used to be there. You initiate more just to keep the connection alive. You send that just thinking of you text, hoping it will spark something. You tell yourself, maybe he's just busy. Maybe he's just unsure. Maybe if I show him how consistent I am, he'll come back around. But here's the hard truth no one wants to say. The more you overextend, the less he values your presence. Not because he's a bad person, but because the moment you start trying harder than him, he subconsciously starts to think he doesn't have to try at all. You've taken over the emotional labor. You're now the one maintaining the spark, carrying the weight of the connection, keeping the story going, even when he's quietly pulling away. And here's the truth I need you to hear. You don't win someone over by doing more. You attract the right person by honoring your energy. There's a difference between effort and energy. Effort is what we do. Energy is what we bring. And in love, people remember how we make them feel. You can text a man every day, plan dates, send him songs, check in constantly. But if your energy starts to feel anxious, desperate, or overly invested compared to his, he'll feel it, and slowly, without even realizing it, he'll begin to retreat. But when you learn to match his energy, not his effort, you take your power back. What does that mean? It means that if he's not reaching out, you don't panic and flood his inbox with affection. You don't overcompensate for his inconsistency. Instead, you breathe, you slow down, you give him space, not out of punishment, but out of self-respect. You mirror what he gives, not to play games, but to stay emotionally safe and energetically balanced. If he pulls back, you pull inward. You reconnect with your center. You turn your attention back to your life, your friends, your goals, your joy. Because your happiness was never supposed to come from his consistency. It was meant to come from you. That shift in energy, that's where your power lives. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop giving more than he is, it creates a vacuum. He begins to feel your absence. He notices that you're not just always there anymore, that your energy is no longer pouring into him without boundaries. And if he truly values you, he'll feel it. He'll want it back. That absence becomes a mirror. It shows him what life feels like without your light, your attention, your presence, and that awareness is what drives genuine clarity. But if he doesn't value it, if he's indifferent or doesn't notice at all, that's your answer, isn't it? Because a man who's truly interested will not let a woman who matches his energy drift away unnoticed. He will meet her halfway, or more. He'll adjust. He'll initiate, not because he's forced to, but because he wants to. Matching energy protects your heart. It keeps you from draining yourself in relationships where you're the only one doing the work. And more importantly, it teaches you that you're not here to chase love. You're here to receive it when it comes from the right place, from the right person at the right pace. So the next time you feel that anxiety creeping in, that urge to do more, fix things, revive a connection that's dying, pause, take a breath, ask yourself, what's his energy saying right now? And am I mirroring it out of fear or out of love for myself? Because when you start valuing your own emotional effort as much as his, everything changes. You stop pouring from an empty cup. You stop chasing clarity from people who already gave you an answer through their actions. And you start attracting those who match you, not just in effort, but in presence, consistency, and love. You don't need to fight for someone to see your worth. You need to protect your energy until someone values it and shows up to meet you where you already are. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is no move at all. In a world that tells us to constantly show up, keep trying, never give up, especially when it comes to love, it feels counterintuitive to pull back, to step away, to stop giving. But when you're dealing with a man who hasn't fully chosen you, or who seems to be exploring someone else, your instinct might be to lean in, to prove you're the better choice, to remind him how good you are, to stay visible, stay available, stay close, just in case he decides you're the one. But here's what I want you to understand. Sometimes what a man needs most to realize your value is your absence. See, when you're always there, always texting back quickly, always available when he wants to hang out, always reminding him of your presence, he never truly feels what life is like without you. He never gets the contrast, and people don't value what they think will always be there. They may enjoy it, they may appreciate it on some level, but they won't truly miss it until it's gone. Let me be clear. I'm not talking about playing games. I'm not suggesting you ghost him or disappear to punish him. This isn't about manipulation. It's about reclaiming your energy, creating space, shifting from being emotionally available to emotionally intentional. If a man is unsure about you, unsure enough to entertain someone else, you have to ask yourself, why am I still pouring so much of myself into this? Because here's the thing. When you constantly show up for someone who is half in, you teach them that they can give you less and still keep you. That's not love. That's self-abandonment. So what do? You create silence, you create distance, you take your beautiful energy, your laughter, your presence, your warmth, and you put it back into your life. You redirect it into places where it's met with equal desire, equal investment, equal energy. When you do that, you give him the gift of feeling what it's like to not have you. You give him the space to reflect, not just on how you make him feel when you're there, but how he feels when you're not. He notices the quiet. He notices the missing texts. He notices that his life feels a little emptier, and he starts to realize who brought the light. That's the difference between a woman who chases and a woman who's chosen. The chaser stays visible out of fear. The chosen one steps back with confidence, knowing that her worth doesn't decrease in her silence. Think of it like music. What gives a song its beauty isn't just the notes, it's the space between them. That pause, that breath, that moment of stillness, that's what makes the melody hit. Your absence is that moment. And it's unforgettable when it's authentic. Now, will every man rise to the occasion when you step back? No, some won't notice. Some will let you go. And while that may hurt, it's actually a blessing, because their indifference reveals the truth you were too emotionally invested to see. They were never your person. But the man who does feel it, the one who starts to miss your voice, your energy, your soul in his life, he'll come forward. Not with half effort, not with crumbs, but with clarity, because your absence shook something awake in him. It reminded him that not everyone brings what you bring. And that clarity, that's when the shift happens. That's when he stops being casual and starts being intentional. That's when he stops comparing and starts choosing. Because when you're no longer in front of him, he can finally see the space you filled, and he realizes it's not something he can replace with someone else. So don't be afraid to disappear for a while. Don't be afraid to stop texting first. Don't be afraid to sit in the silence even when it's uncomfortable, because the right man won't forget you in your absence. He'll find his way back to you if he's meant to, and if he doesn't, then you've cleared space for someone who will. You are not here to be someone's maybe. You are not here to prove yourself to someone who's distracted. You are here to be felt, remembered, missed. because your energy is that powerful. So let him feel the void. Let your silence echo, because sometimes the loudest message you can send is the one you don't speak at all. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is no move at all. When you're emotionally invested in someone, especially a man who might be giving his attention to someone else, your instinct might be to lean in, to remind him of how great you are, to prove you're the one he should choose. You stay available, you stay present. But here's the truth: when someone always has access to your energy, they begin to take it for granted. People don't miss what they never have to live without. And if he never experiences what life feels like without your good morning text, your support, your time, your attention, how can he truly value it? This isn't about playing games or punishing him. It's about giving him the gift of contrast. You're showing him not through words but through silence what it feels like when your presence is no longer a given. When you pull your energy back, not in anger but in self-respect, you create space. And in that space, something powerful happens. He notices the quiet. He feels the shift. He realizes that something is missing, and that something is you. And here's the most important part. If he doesn't notice, if he doesn't care, then you just received the answer you were trying so hard to avoid, because the right man will notice. The right man will feel the absence of your light, and if he truly values you, he will move toward you, not away. You don't have to chase love. The more you chase, the more it runs. But when you stand still, rooted in your worth, clear in your boundaries, you become magnetic. Your energy speaks for itself. It says, I know what I bring, and if you don't see it, someone else will. So let him feel the silence. Let him sit in the space where your presence used to be, because only then can he realize what he had and what he may be losing. Your absence is not a punishment, it's a reminder. And the man who's meant for you won't forget how you made him feel, even when you're no longer there to remind him. In the end, making him choose you over the other woman isn't about playing games or competing. It's about knowing your worth, maintaining your boundaries, and honoring your own life. When you stop chasing and start living with confidence, when you create space for him to feel your absence, you show him what it really means to lose something valuable. Remember, love is a choice. The right man will choose you, not because you forced him to, but because he sees you, respects you, and recognizes the incredible energy you bring into his life. So, stop making him the center of your world. Live your life, chase your dreams, and let him come to you. Be the woman who matches his energy, not his effort. When you do this, you not only elevate your own sense of self-worth, but you also make it impossible for him not to recognize the extraordinary woman you are. If you want to attract the right kind of attention and create a love that lasts, you've got to first choose yourself. Don't wait around for someone else to tell you your value. Know it, live it, and watch how the right person steps forward to choose you. If you found this advice helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below with your thoughts and let me know how you're going to start putting these principles into practice today. You deserve to feel chosen, respected, and loved. Not because you did everything to earn it, but because you were already enough. Thanks for watching. Stay confident, stay empowered, and remember, you are worth it.